Peace and love, everyone. It's Congressman Jamaal Bowman here. Hope everyone is doing well. Thank you so much for allowing me to say a few words and for allowing me to participate in these very important events. I want to start by giving a huge shout out, a huge thank you, and a huge hug to Dr. Karen Baptiste. Thank you so much for directing this ever important documentary on this critical, urgent issue that's taking place in our schools, in our communities, across the entire country. Some of you may know before coming to Congress, I worked in education for 20 years. I started my career as an elementary school teacher in the South Bronx before becoming a high school guidance counselor and dean of students for a few years before opening my own school as a middle school principal in the Northeast Bronx. And so, this issue of the school to prison pipeline, this issue of how we quote unquote discipline our kids, this issue of school suspensions, and how we engage with student resource officers and school safety officers if you're in New York City, and police in our schools is something that's been a central part of my entire adult life, quite frankly. And it's something that I did everything in my power to make sure I didn't contribute to. Because unfortunately, many educators, not just in New York City, but across the country, have simply a punitive mentality as it relates to engaging our kids on a daily basis, but also, quote unquote, disciplining our kids. Discipline, as we know, is part of an overall education curriculum, an overall education experience, and it's rooted in learning and restorative justice. It is not simply punitive. Unfortunately, many of our kids, especially those who are poor, black, or brown, come to school and already feel criminalized when they walk in the building because of how educators in that school building, but also educators throughout the school district and school system, feel about our kids. There's a lack of empathy, there's a lack of compassion, there's a lack of acknowledgement of historical discrimination, there's a lack of emotional intelligence, there's a lack of actually training in restorative justice and trauma informed care. And as a result, our kids are victimized by this, and they're victimized by this on a consistent basis. Education is not just about top down, uh, you know, controlling, oppressive environments for kids. Our school systems are supposed to unlock the full potential of our kids, give them spaces to make mistakes, to be creative, again, to learn and grow, to be innovative, to share their ideas. If we create schools that embody this, our kids will not, quote unquote, put themselves in situations where they might have to get in trouble. But even when a kid does something that is against the school culture or policy, going first to punitive and only the punitive, whether it's detention, suspension, or an arrest, should not be how we run our schools, especially as it relates to our elementary school children. I am proud to say that over the course of my career, I can't think of a single time that I had to call the police to come arrest a kid from my school. Not once. And I'm not bragging about that. It's just that first and foremost, our school curriculum was rooted in research based practices for kids and families. And we know we have to build, it's our job to build strong relationships with our kids and families so that they can feel comfortable, seen, and heard and valued in the school. And when you do that, you don't have to go to a school resource officer or a school safety officer or a police officer to engage your kids for you. It's our job to build those relationships. It's our job to be there for them. It's our job to help them learn. And it's our job to help them grow, and particularly grow and learn from mistakes they may have made that run counter to the school policies that we're all working towards. So, again, thank you for this documentary. It is so timely. It's about so many different things, and there's so many layers to this. Food insecurities related to this, housing insecurity, underfunded communities, lack of green spaces, lack of arts and sports and music programs, lack of training for teachers and staff, lack of diversity, of teachers and staff, lack of investments in universal child care and universal pre-K, and also the explicit and implicit racial animus, racism, and bias that exists in many educators, black, white, brown, Asian as well, that we have when we work with children of color and poor children and marginalized children. And so, thank you for your work. You have a partner in me in Congress. Looking forward to seeing you all on the rebound. Peace and love. Be well, be safe.